Everybody hears it. I think that's okay. Yeah, thank you very much for being here and hearing my talk on usability considerations and principles for complex applications. Some thoughts on iDempiere. Well, I will go through it a little bit first, giving my motivation and background so that you see why I did it and also perhaps how I'm looking at iDempiere. I will show a little bit about the evolution of iDempiere GUI and then go to some general GUI guidelines, look at it and how they can be perhaps applied to the iDempiere GUI, and that then I will look a little bit closer at some smaller points or direct points, some concrete areas. But I thought in the beginning when I proposed that talk I wanted to really give some new screens, but in the end I thought it's better to have something to start to discuss about and then look what can be done. And that is then also in the end the final thoughts and the perspective. So okay, I'm not in a company who uses iDempiere directly in their normal business, but I'm educating students and I'm doing it in students' projects and introducing iDempiere or just doing something smaller like having a first idea how businesses are executed and how that is reflected in the ERP system and then also in the financial systems, because normally our students just learn how to do the accounting for business areas just by hand, but yeah, they should also see how it is done automatically and also that there are some changes in there. Also I'm doing it for a little bit for seeing how things are integrated, because ERP is not just one thing, but it's going over a whole company and going over different functions. And if you are just seeing the functions normally, like accounting or logistics or things like that, sales, then you are often missing some things. And people, when they start to build or to have a project setting up ERP system for the company, then they have to find out how the products are integrated into sales, into price lists, into accounting and things like that. And that's also a very good thing. And that we are doing in quite different projects. Some are Veranstaltungen, some events. Yeah. Sometimes that's only 5 hours, so very small, just getting a glimpse of it. And sometimes it's 60 hours, it's going over a whole year. And so the students have a lot more time to prepare, and even they are also required to do about the same or even a little bit more of that time at home. So that's quite big then. And what is good for me is, iDempiere is great. I can just get it, set it up for one group, for 10 groups, for anything, what we need, and also change it a bit. That's no question. If we get something of the commercial side, that would be always restricted, and we get it free normally, but not so in that scale and in that flexibility. On the other hand, if students look at it and think, oh, it is a little bit more complex than other commercial other commercial systems. The user interface and the documentation is not today's topic, but are lacking quite a bit. And the user interface, it is fulfilling, I think, most basic necessities, but in many things it is not really self-explanatory or in current compared to current standards. Directly I was doing two things in recent times. There was one special course, actually from another thing, thought at the beginning, looking a little bit how to make an ERP simple from iDempiere. And so there were 3 groups. one were just looking what are the typical processes and functions, and the others were comparing a few ERP systems. And some also were doing adoptions to iDempiere to make it simple, but that was actually the hardest part. But what I got from the comparison with the other ERP systems, that made me also think, well, also our normal user interface can be somehow improved. And then there was also later a discussion with a colleague who is a user experience expert. It's Professor Dr. Sunab Tunsha from our digital media department, and she also just pointed, I just showed it to her and go through a few of the screens, and she showed me a number of aspects she thought were not typical current state. So now I'm coming to a few things. Perhaps a few of you will remember. I just like to ask to see who has worked also with these kinds of interfaces. I will not start just by iDempiere, but there is some kind of progression or some kinds of times for. And I also would like to ask you if you know it or if you see it here, whether you see differences in all aspects. So the first thing, who of you has also had practical experience with this kind of interface? So one, two, okay, a few, okay, yeah. So this was Compiere. I think about, well, this is 2008, but I think it was even older by that time. So this is the first interface. Then we had this kind of interface. There are some changes. The layout and things of the tabs and things like that. And now we're having this kind of layout. Okay, it's getting a little bit small. If somebody wants to, I have also put these things onto the slides that Diego has uploaded, so you can perhaps also look at it a little bit closer and find out what it says. But at the moment, this is just for getting an impression of things. And if you look at that, I've said that what has changed, but what do you think has been, well, stayed almost the same? It's how the general layout is, and also all the fields are almost in the same position. Okay, some have been added, and also I've not gone through all these things that they are always the same target document types, so they're also a little bit varying. But the rest is really similar. Okay, we are talking about GUIs, and okay, what is important for GUIs? Well, first some things we already heard yesterday, but a little bit also different. It is the user, actually, and it is not only some abstract user, but it's a physical being, a person who has, well, actually the eyes are very important because we have to see things, and our vision is not perfect in any aspect, in all aspects, but it has some limitations. You can only see a few things at one time. You must find things. You want to not, well, like he, get into a state where you're very, tense, and it's work is almost taking over, and you're not finding things, but you would like to stay in a flow state, and actually that the cognitive load is not too high. I think that's a very important thing, and actually feedback loops are also important, but I won't get onto that at the moment too much in the presentation. Okay, and then I also looked for that. I thought, okay, what are the general guidelines? Because one needs to have some things to get onto. I know I forgot something. Still want to. Oh, doesn't go. Okay, sorry. Okay. I thought I would like to have a pen here, but they don't offer it to me. Sorry. Okay. Um, I had it in the other presentation. Okay, some guidelines for user interfaces of IT systems. No, we don't. No, okay, so able to make marks on that. That should be able, but I changed the presentation program, and so I am a little bit on that. Okay, what are the main important? Oh, sorry, that doesn't.
There's some links on point if you want.
Ah, that's good. Okay.
Behind the
In that.
Yeah.
Ah, great. Thank you very much.
front. And there is another microphone.
Okay, no, but the laser is okay. The other thing would have been the okay. Okay, what are the things I think are important now? We will have a look into it, and what also came to me up when I was going through my experiences in teaching the iDempiere. It is sometimes not completely consistent. There is a okay. I will come to that. Consistency is I think very important. Then there are some aspects of visibility of system status, but not always. It's more when you are having some things like, well, bigger tasks. Then it's also a little bit more complex and difficult to follow. And well, actually, at some stages, if the layout is a little bit difficult, then you have also a higher short-term memory load, and you will also have I think the aesthetic and minimalistic design was also something that I would like to go onto a little bit more deeply later on. Okay, just having these characteristics, which I think help a bit, but they are not very, directly applicable. So they are also person dependent. They are generic, but they help in the long-term view to have some ideas which to follow, and then to have a long-term approach. And actually, I think there are also some things that are well done with iDempiere. If you look at the wrong thing. If you look at the general how things are aligned, how things come from the system dictionary, that helps quite a lot. And we are having many things that are that no programmer can break. So that's good. But if I look at the layout standards, well, they are ergonomically not like other competitors. That was also the result from our study on 4 other systems. And in some sense, in some status, when there are more complex dependencies, that is also not very clear always. Like workflows, sometimes more the complex workflows, and sometimes also deeply related data. You can find things, but it's always a little bit where they are. If you know it for a long time, that's no problem anymore. But if you are getting into it for first times, that is difficult. So let's just have a look at another example, which we also discussed during that study with the students. That was, I don't know whether anybody of you knows, it's a German smaller company called WeClap, and they are having an interface like that. And some of the aspects, if you look at that, it's you're getting quite more easily familiar with a number of things, and I hope to can relate that later on to some of the guiding principles how to do that. So you have not so many things on that. That's also something which is helping, but also many things are well looking, quite well organized, and the what is it? The groups are well can be easily recognized. Okay, so I have gone through that and had some collection of a number of things. I think I will go through that with the examples. You can later on, if you want to find things reflect, we can also look at this list, because we are having also something we must get through. Okay, the first thing that I was not sure of, but I think it's not the best way at the moment. It's the text orientation. It seems to be a small thing, but anyway, when you are looking for certain fields, that is it is looking nice, but you always have to go around and find the things. If you are, all other systems we looked at, all the four, have it aligned left side. So that's one thing. One other thing is a little bit confusing sometimes when there are some blocks and they change the size. So you're having here a block. Normally it is going down here just two columns. Yeah, thank you. 2 columns. But then there is one thing that is really big. That's a little bit cutting the vision and things like that. And then I had a certain problem. I had also some problems when going here. You are seeing the version 12. But sometimes in version 12 there is a special edition. That's the one that is open in the tryout, the Colombian version, and there are some things that making it even a bit more problematic. Here, like the additional text IDs, that's not normal, but anyway, that is really, there are some different things mixed up, so that's should not be. The text things are normally down here or here, but also if you are looking at things like that, you are having here the business partner kind of, and there you have the business partner group. That could be, if it's more closely together, it's easier for the user to recognize. Similar, I think here down there was also something. The credit rating. It is seems to be it's optimized for using space, but not for the recognition. Some other things are also of the principles that the things you need most should be also placed first. If you look at the normal screens of iDempiere, you always start with tenant and organization. Normally you are entering one tenant and one organization. You won't change that. So that's no information that's usually very important. So sometimes it can be important. I know that also, but not directly as here, I think. Then there was another issue, like how to navigate through. You have having always quite a big number of data in iDempiere, because companies are not selling 5 products or 100 products, so that's even a thing we don't have so much in our university, but much more even in practice. But then if you are going into that, you are sometimes having problems of finding out how to navigate through the things. Actually, there are two areas which are important. One is up here, and the other is down here. Actually, one could even say there is another one. So I think that's not easy. And actually, this is something I felt also the first few years with iDempiere. Now I know I have to go there, and I always tell the students, but I know only a few will recognize it very easily. Actually, there was something else, but Diego helped me already. I think the new Windows version, or some of the browsers in the new Windows version, are cutting away the scroll bar. That's also a little bit of a problem, but that's not directly related to iDempiere, but sometimes we have to be aware of that and find ways to cope with that. So that's something that's not a complete bigger problem. Okay, other things also, if we are looking at the toolbar, I was always asking myself, I'm not sure, actually I'm just talking to you like somebody who wants to make it easier to use it first time. But I also know that there are many of you, and also it's very important for the companies with users who are using it every day for 10 years and things like that, and a lot of times they must also have a very good user interface. So, but anyway, if I'm looking always at this point, there is this is very big here, the select query, and at the beginning I'm not using it at all. At later stages I'm using sometimes the select feature, but anyway not the query. So it's just something I would like to address, to ask, and perhaps one thinks of it. There was also something like that was noted by Professor Tuncher, here the grid. That's not self-explainable, but anyway I don't know whether we have something better. So anyway, that's always something one has to go. Other things that were noted is a little bit, we could also have it on the other side. Sometimes the what is it, alignment of the things could be a little bit more better, a little bit more, making it more organized. At the moment there are a number of lines which are just put on themselves, and so they grow or they are ending at some places, and if there is some ideas to rearrange that, there might be a few things we can do. One cannot do everything, I know. Yeah, these are the three things here. Next thing, I hope, yeah, we can talk about that later, and I must also go through it. Next was the position of important elements of the GUI, and there I was also a little bit, or there was something see that sometimes we have that toolbar above the elements which it is applied to, and here we have it below. So normally it would be better if it's always on the same side. Okay, it might be not so important here, but anyway, something to think about. And also I'm a little bit wondering whether this is a good idea to have the tables for the details below. Actually, if you will go back to the example from VClap, they also had all things in the here's some kind of extension, and they had, I think they didn't have this kind of what is it, tabs here. But okay, this is just something one might have a talk about. So okay. Yeah. And the last thing seems to be, I think, a very small one, but anyway, I was also always looking at it and I was thinking, is that really meant to be like that? Is the logo of iDempiere? I'm not sure. Okay, here it looks even sharp, but normally when I look at it, it's not looking sharp. And I'm not sure why. Perhaps it's also my vision. I'm not sure, but okay. It was also noted by Professor Tuncher, so I'm not. So it might be also something from the browsers. But anyway, well, if there are some guidelines, some of you have put up there their own logos. If there are some guidelines how to make them really sharp, would be good. Something like that. Okay, and some other things I just wrote down and put in there. Obstacles, or by my wish list, was something like a more updated or automated update after something I'm selecting a product, then I still have to press the update button. I think that's could be perhaps sometimes easier. Perhaps it's just having a return, but anyway, the user doesn't know. I just noted it in the BOM viewer when doing this presentation, but I know it's also very often when I have a product or when I'm selecting an order for making the invoices. I think it's always very often. So it's perhaps sometimes it's not. It is done for some of the screens and not for all. I'm not sure. When we have a look at it more deeply and see things can be done, then I would have also to dig into it more more precisely and find out which ones are.
Frank,
and the last thing.
Frank, I have one question.
Yeah.
Like when you say that when I select the product and there should be, I have to press the update button. So I didn't understand exactly because why we need to.
No, it's sometimes no. If okay, it's if I have the selection criteria. If I'm just putting it whether it's purchased or not purchased, and then I change these things, and then I have to go to the update button to have the list there.
Oh, refresh button.
Yeah, refresh. Sorry, update is. Then I had the wrong. Yeah.
This one, okay. When you talk about update, I confused a little bit, but
Sorry.
I got one idea or one improvement area. So we have a read-only window features, correct? Like a read-only session, but it is always to accidentally changing any data, correct? There is one features required is like by default all the record shows as a read-only, and when user want to change, they have to enable it by saying that I want to update, I want to edit, correct? Then only it's become updatable.
But
So-
also, if you want to refresh and you have to input, if you have a lot of records, you just say a document type and you get 1 million of records, and it's not okay. So you have to put a limitation. So it's too much record, and then you have to put 3 filters: document, year, business partner,
Okay.
and something like. And
We-
then it's okay.
We
But
have
after
added-
only 1 filter is.
Okay, this is the reason. This is perhaps the reason I didn't
If you have-
understand it
but
for me. Yeah.
we added features. Once you hit the enter key, you don't have to use the refresh. On pressing enter key itself, it will refresh.
Okay.
So
Now,
once
so
you enter
that's-
data, you have to press enter key.
Okay.
Something I feel is that we develop many things and then we don't use it. From the developer point of view, we have, for example, the first 2 them are already done.
Okay.
But we have not checked the flag to do the auto refresh. There is a flag that says auto refresh,
Yes.
and we have not enabled. We did the development, but didn't set the info windows to do it. Yeah. And the second is also done is
You mean this one or?
yeah. The second one is that there is a flag in user preferences that is detailed zoom across, and it shows a long list.
Okay, but normally it's often very short, and sometimes I find it only with the order, and sometimes I find
For
it
me,
with the.
the best is in the middle way. Detailed zoom is too much.
And the other is too.
And this is too
Yeah.
not enough.
Okay.
It's a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for the discussion and the additional input, so you understand that. And the last thing is, well, I think the menu always starts with the admin tasks, so that is good for a developer or for somebody who introduces iDempiere. But normally I would like to. I think I would be more for selling the thing. Would be better to have sales first and the admin at the bottom. So it's just. Okay. And last, some final thoughts before getting to the discussion, or even connecting it with the following talk. The GUI design is rooted in the cognitive capabilities, and I think you know all that and have found also some of the inputs realistic. iDempiere has a powerful UI, but with the versions, mostly its style has changed. And little changes are there in field groups and clusters, and functions were added, but some are having more functions, but they are not even well, completely regrouped or something if they are so long. Well, there has been one thing, but okay, we can discuss it sometimes. Better ways require often a compromise, so that I'm sure that I know that it's not easy to just say, okay, we change it that way and then it's best, but often we need more plays. Consistencies is also not in every case optimal, and therefore I would also like to, and with my colleague, do a study in next semester with some students who just look through it and think what they are thinking of that. But anyway, that is not, taking over everything. If there is some group here or some other ideas here to do things directly or do things in another way, I'm also very happy to share with that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Recently, you about the first, in your second slide, maybe you said the labels at the left are misaligned. Yeah? And recently, Hensing did an improvement for the labels on mobile phones. The label is on top of the field. Yeah?
Ah, okay.
And somebody, we just, it's enabled just for mobile, but it can be enabled for the normal UI. And somebody played with that in demo, in the test server, and it looks nice. Maybe we can discuss if that would be the default way. Looks good. Huh?
Yeah, and in new HTML standards, they say that you should have the title on the top of the field. That is a standard, and we could take it. If Hensing did it, it's the best.
Don't read it on, it's just enabled.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very nice to hear. Okay. Well, there is a talk on usability issues also. I'm not sure whether it would be good now to first have your talk and perhaps then mix in the discussion. Yeah. Yes, and therefore I thought it would be good it might be good to have it here, and then perhaps some issues are the same.
Reka is next.
Reka, yeah, would be nice. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.